In this video, we're going to add some 3D perspective views so that we can add them to our set to illustrate kind of better what our house is going to look like. So these you would include on a set, particularly when you're showing your client, or just so that people building it have an idea of what the end outcome would look like. And for our purposes here, it's just going to be practice creating these views. So to create these perspective views, you have to go up to the View tab, and then over here, right kind of towards the middle on the left, there's the 3D View tab, but there's an arrow underneath it, and then there's the Camera view. And you can place this camera in any view that you're in. I like to place it in a 3D view so that I can kind of see where I'm taking the picture from. And I'm going to, and I want you to also to place it at all four corners. So we're going to do a view for all four corners of this house. So if you click anywhere here, and once you click, you're now dragging the view. So you can kind of see it's like a camera. If I were to stand right there and take a picture, theoretically this is what I would see. So then you just click again and it will open up your perspective view. Now it might not be quite in the view that you want, but it automatically has this crop view selected so that you can drag it over to size the view how you want. And as you can see, the shading is, I think, just set to hidden, so you're not seeing all the detail that you may have added in your materials. So you can change how it looks by this square at the bottom. It's called the visual style. So you can select that and then hit realistic, and then you can get your realistic looking view. And so once you've done that, I placed this view at the southeast corner. So I'm going to rename my view. That I'm going to call it view at, let's call it view from southeast corner. And so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a sheet for these. Using our architectural D, we'll go up to our View tab, hit Sheet, and select the architectural D, and then hit OK. And just like before, it's going to bring up that view of that sheet, and then we can rename it accordingly. And according to our textbook on page 80, there's a kind of a sheet indication format, and the 3D views, isometric, and perspective and photos are supposed to be start with a 9. So we'll do A for architectural and then 900, and then we'll call these perspective views. And you can select the title block and just enter in the information by clicking into the fields that are available. Or if you select nothing, if you have nothing selected, you can also change that over here on the properties palette. You can see here it has now changed it because I changed it on the title block. Or if you select the title block itself, you can also change it. All these things are kind of tied together. So now that we can see that we had created this 3D view from the southeast corner, and we can find that over here under the project browser, under 3D views, and you can see that when we named it view from southeast corner. So I'm going to open that up, and I will drag the 3D view onto the sheet just like we did before. So it'll plop that view on there. I'm going to drag this window by clicking and holding the left mouse button, dragging it until it highlights blue, so we can see over here. I'm going to close that view since it's on the sheet. Now if we wanted to get this view back, there's no indication of where that view is. It disappeared once we placed it. But you can get the view back by right-clicking on the view that you placed and then clicking Show Camera. And now it's showing that camera view that we placed. And then so we could grab it, move it back, and you'll see that it'll change this view. If you have this camera selected and go to your Properties palette, you can again select the far clip offset. You can give it an eye elevation, the target elevation, and so you can edit some of the parameters here. You can see there's grips on there, so you can drag it, and that will automatically update the far clip offset. And then you can also grab this grip here in the middle to change how high or how low this end offset is. And then you can see it over here in the view changing. So if we were to lower it, you can see how the view changes. We can move this in and get an idea of how it changes. Now I don't like how small this is on the sheet too, and so that can be kind of funky to change. But I'm going to change over here this height elevation. I'm going to click in this eye elevation, which is going to move this up, and I'm going to make the eye elevation at 6 feet. And you can see it adjusted the view, and I will bring this view up to get it back to normal here. And it's kind of small, and so what I'm going to do to make this a little bit bigger is, because it applied a perspective view, I think it depends on whatever this 3D view is that you created. It doesn't seem to be too consistent. I'm sure there's a way to control that, but if you drag it on a sheet and you just don't like the way it looks, you can either go into the view or open up the view separately and change here, right here in the middle. It says projection mode. We're going to change that back to orthographic. And you can see that it actually is at a scale of 1 inch equals 20 feet, which I think is too small. So I'm going to change this scale to an 1/8 inch equals a foot. So it should increase our size. And now I'm going to change this back, the projection mode, back to perspective. And hopefully that'll give us a desired effect that we want. Yeah, and that does. I like that. You know, I'm only going to put like 2 of these views on the sheet. I'm probably going to cut down some of this a little bit, and actually I'm going to delete this car because I don't really want to see a car in this view. So I can just select on them, hit the delete button, and they'll go away. I'm going to bring this crop view over by just selecting this round grip, and I'm going to bring it up closer to the bottom. So I think that's the way I like it. I'm going to turn off the crop region visible, so I don't want to see the crop. The other thing you can do in these views is I would like to set it to realistic. So that's where it's using some of those image files in the materials that we have applied, so that it'll give it a realistic view. The trees will look realistic. If we just go with shaded, it's going to give this kind of schematic view, and if we go to hidden, you know, it's even less detailed. So I'm going to click to realistic, and then the other thing I'm going to do is put the shading on. So here at the bottom where we change our scale and our detail level, change the style, the visual style from shaded to realistic. I'm going to also turn the shadows off. Or I'm going to actually turn the shadows on by clicking the shadows, this little button here in the middle. It says shadows off. We click that to turn shadows on. and you can see it's using just a default sun to show what it would look like in the shade, which kind of gives it a nice more put together look. I think that you're actually seeing if the sun were to be coming down here, it's casting the shadows. So that's our first perspective view. And so now we can create our other one. So I'm going to go clockwise around here. So we did a view from over here. If I can go in here, I believe I can actually just select the crop view, turn the crop region visible on to see my camera as well, or I can right click to show camera to see that again if I need to edit it further. But I don't need to do that. I'm just going to get out of this view and I'm going to create another one. So I'm going to rotate around here. I'm going to go back up to my view tab and pick the down arrow beneath 3D view and pick camera view again. Let's see, what do we have? So it's perspective. It's saying it's a scale of 1/8 inch equals a foot, and it's a 5'6" offset from level 1, which I think that's good. I think moving it around possibly change some of those, but we'll kind of see here when we place another view. So I'm going to move it out, and it's going to automatically create that view and open it up. I'm going to stretch to get the view I want. Whatever I think the best kind of looking view is. This is just to kind of give a nice overall look of this drawing, so we can see what the house is really going to look like. Down here on the bottom, I'm going to change it to realistic under the visual style, and then I'm going to turn shadows on. And there, looks like we've got another 3D view. I'm going to throw it on the sheet. Let's call this one the southwest, or what did we call the other one? View from southeast corner. So I'm going to call this view from southwest corner. And I can drag this onto the sheet. Oops, see, I'm in this view still, so I'm going to have to right click, deactivate view, or it won't let me drag that new view on there. So now we can go view from southwest corner. And again, it's pretty small, and I don't like it that small. We want these to be nice, big pictures to really be impressive. So we'll go to our properties palette again. We're going to change this from perspective to orthographic. Or see, it switched it to 1 inch equals 20 feet again. So we'll change that to 1/8 inch equals a foot. And then we're going to change it back to perspective. So over here in projection mode, change that from orthographic to perspective. And let it grind a little bit, and it'll change that view again. I'm going to kind of tighten up this view. The other option would be to put, if you want a nice big view, you could put one view per sheet. But I think, for this exercise, 2 per sheet is plenty. And then I just double clicked out of the view area so that I could get it, so I can now move and place this on the sheet. And I like that. I like the way that looks. The other thing you can do, so you're in this perspective view, you don't want to inadvertently rotate the view and get your view all messed up. So I'm going to hit undo. And a good thing to do when you're in these particularly 3D views is lock the view. So I'm going to hit undo another time. When you're in this realistic view and these perspective views, it could take a little bit for your computer to catch up with you. I should have hit this down arrow to get all the way back, but that's okay. And down here at the bottom where we turned on our detail level and our visual style and the shadows, there's a little house with a lock on it. And that says the lock view. And so we're going to do that. I'm going to save orientation and lock the view. So now I can't pan around in this view. It's been locked, so I can't mess it up. So now we can go back here, grab this view, place it back in this corner, and center our title underneath. And remember, you can center the title by just picking this title by itself, and then you're able to hover over it and then move. You could also just type the move command, or hit the move command up here as well, and it'll also allow you to move it. I like to have the detail titles. It kind of depends, but just so that they are within the view. Some people like just to keep, I think our work standard is actually a set length that's centered in the view. But you will find that out from your first job. When you're at work, they're going to tell you what their standards are. So I would follow whatever standards there are, but typically under the view, these are like nice perspective isometric views, so it kind of doesn't, these are more artistic, if you want to use that word. So I'm going to turn the crop view off in this view, and let's do another thing on the Dropbox, on the Google Drive. I'll put a link on the website. I have, let's see, where did I put it? Under the Revit files, families, there's going to be a folder for Entourage, and you can download this folder, and then there's a bunch of 3D human figures families that you can use. And we'll place one of those now. So in here, kind of like we were showing you for the site and these other things, you can place people. There wasn't any preloaded into Revit, so I went to Revit City and downloaded some. So we can go back to massing and site, and hopefully they will be under the site components. So I'll do that again. So massing and site component, we'll pick on that. So we had our vehicle and all of our trees and whatnot, and if you load in those people family, they'll show up here. So if you don't have them in yet, when you're in this view, you can go ahead and go to load family and then browse out to where you've saved those. So I've created a folder for architectural design, Revit families, and so on. So then you would just select whatever family you wanted, hit open, and it will insert it into your project. And then over here, you can then scroll up or type in the search bar, and it will look for the family you just loaded. So if you hover over the image, it will show you what it is, just in case you can't see or remember the name. So let's find somebody who seems like they might live in this house. I like that guy's shirt, so let's pick this guy. So here you can see the little person, and it'll be a 3D person that we can place in our view. We'll have them going down the steps. And if they don't show up, so I picked twice and they didn't show up, we'll probably need to go to our visibility graphics override. That's either on your properties palette or on the view tab. We can go to visibility graphics, and they are located typically under Entourage, but the Entourage is turned on. So I'm not sure why they're not showing up, but maybe I didn't pick right. Let's try that again. So we're massing in site. Topo surface. Oh, not topo surface. That was a different video. Site component. Man. Oh yeah, I must not have been clicking hard enough or didn't have it on the right spot. So let's move this man. Oh, did I put the people inside? Let's open up a 3D view and find these guys. Oh yeah, inadvertently placed them inside of the house. That's why we couldn't see them. So I'm going to right click and select all instances. So I can right click on one of the people that I placed and then select all instances in entire project. You can see it selected 3. Over here on the properties palette we can see it selected 3 of A_Cman-7X, and then I'm just going to hit delete. And I'm going to place him in this view because I think maybe the perspective view made it a little bit hard to see where I was placing him. So we'll get him back, and I will try for a third time to place this guy on the porch. And there we go. He is on the porch, and it says he's constrained to top plate, but that seems unlikely since he's living inside of the porch here. So I tried to change it to level 1, which should be the top of this porch. That didn't seem to work. So what I'm going to do is, while he's selected, I'm going to pick a new host. See, under the Modify tab, I'm going to pick new host, and I'm going to pick whatever level you want him to be on top of. So I pick the top of this this deck, and now we can see he's hanging out there trying to go down the stairs. So if we look back over on our perspective view, we've got a guy walking. So I'm going to add another person in here. And let's pick a W-man, a woman for this one. Ooh, there's some people with kids. Let's see. I'll pick this lady because she looks like she matches. So let's see. There we go. Now we have a lady there. They're leaving the house. They had just looked at it for see if they wanted to buy it. If you select one of these people to change their direction, if you hit the space bar, they'll toggle into their locations. Or if you go up here to rotate, you can rotate them to whatever direction you want. I'm going to have her going in a different direction, and now to see she's in the deck again, I'm going to have her pick a new host, pick the top of the deck, and have her walking down the deck here. Alrighty, so that's placing people. That's pretty simple. Let's place our other few views just so we can see it again. I'm missing my railing. I was redoing the railings and I forgot to do it. I should do a video on how to do railings. I don't know if anybody needs railings or if stairs. Let me know in the comments below. and click the subscribe button. No, but let me know, look at your drawings and see if anybody needs railings or stairs. And I can show you how to do those. They're pretty easy. I think somewhat self-explanatory. But just like everything in Revit, there's always some weirdness about it. So let's click our other views. So I want you to do 4 views. And we'll go to View tab. Underneath 3D view, we'll click the down arrow and click Camera. Let's see, I'm going to edit type of the camera and see what I get. Yeah, not a lot of options in the edit type of the camera. And I'll pick back here, and I'll pull my view so I can hopefully get a nice view. It's going to open it up in a separate window. I'm going to stretch it so that everything I want to see is in the view, so we can get a nice view. I am going to pan down a little bit. See, I haven't locked it yet, so I think that'll work there. I'm going to change it to realistic. I'm going to go to the project browser, find my 3D view, and I'm going to hit F2 to rename it, and then type view from northwest corner. The next thing I'm going to do is, as you can see, the sheet is a little bit tight, so I'm not going to fit any more views. I'm going to go up to Sheet under the View tab, Sheet, Architectural D24x36. I'm going to hit OK. It automatically named it the next sheet number in the list, which is nice. So we can rename this into perspective views. Hit enter, and let us drag our view from the northwest corner onto here. Again, it's small, so I'm going to right click on the view. I'm going to select the view, right click, activate view. I'm going to open up my properties palette, change it from perspective to orthographic. It's going to grind a bit and change into an orthographic view, which means like a true 3D view. I'm going to change it to 1/8 of an inch equals 1 foot. And we'll come back over here, change it to perspective again. I like that. I'm going to tighten up the view a bit more. And I'm going to lock this view. So I'm going to come down here on this little bar beneath the window. Save orientation and lock. I'm going to turn on shadows and make sure realistic is checked. Then I can right click, deactivate view. I can select the view without going in it and turn off the crop region visible, just in case I forgot to do that while I was in there. Click and drag my view to position it on the sheet. I think I'm going to actually go back into this view, or I can go over here, show my crop region again. And I'm going to just drag it up a little bit more. Uncheck crop region visible. I'm going to grab the title right below it, drag it up a bit, click the viewport so I can move both the title and the viewport, and drag it down in preparation for getting that other one up here. So I can close that, and I'm just middle mouse clicking over these that I don't want to see. And what do we got left? This northeast corner. So back up to view, 3D view, and then camera. We'll pick anywhere. Well, not anywhere, at this northeast corner. Pick and drag our window and get our 3D view. I'm going to grab this whole box and move the whole thing over instead of just dragging. I'm going to pan a bit because I feel like the trees are kind of in the way. And the garage is nice, but maybe you want another view kind of looking down this this nice long porch. I'm going to stretch it out a bit more. Change the graphic display to realistic. Turn on shadows. And I'm going to lock this view. Save orientation and lock view. I'm going to bring this up a skosh just to the bottom of that shrubbery and uncheck crop region visible. And since I know that this is going to be too small on my sheet, I can just do this right here and actually see how I locked the view. This 3D view is locked, and now I can't change any of this information anymore. I can't change it from perspective to orthographic, so I'm going to have to make sure and unlock view. Then I can change it to perspective on the properties palette, or from perspective to orthographic. Ooh, 3/64, so that's different. We'll change it to 1/8 inch equals a foot. And change it back to perspective. Let's go to the project browser, and I'm going to copy one of these other names. I'm going to hit F2 on this other name that's similar. I'm going to Control C or right click and copy, and then if I F2 or right click and rename, I can Control V and then just change it to northeast corner, northeast corner, northeast corner, northeast corner, view from northeast corner. Yep, that's what I want. And I can drag this onto the sheet. And yeah, let's save. I like to save when it tells me to. It's one thing I do not like to do is redo work, but as we always say at work, it usually is quicker the second time, so not the end of the world if it crashes on you, unless it's a consistent problem, and I know some of you have been dealing with that. So I'm going to resize my title, the detail title, the view title here, by just selecting the view and moving the grips, and I'm going to reposition it by hitting escape or clicking away from the view and just selecting the title, moving it underneath. I'll move this one, move it around. I'm going to bump this one up. If I select this view, I can use the up arrows to change the views here. And let me see, what else can we do here? I think that was it for those two. So now we've created our perspective views, and in the previous video we did our elevation views, or our section and building section views, and then we've already done our exterior elevations. We got our roof plan and our floor plan. And so I think one more thing we'll do is a site plan, and that's just as easy enough of just going to our site view that we'd created when we did our the topographic plan, and throwing that on the sheet. So we can grab this and throw it on a sheet, and we'll call that good. Yeah, so if you have any questions on how to create these 3D views, please let me know. And we'll see you in the next video.